Hey there, I'm Tyler Onsford, and you're watching a review of Marc Spelmann's The Gallery. What is up, you beautiful people? My name is Tyler Onsford, and welcome back to another magic trick review here on the channel. If you are new here, then definitely consider subscribing and take a look on the channel my past reviews. Now today we're going to be looking at The Gallery by Marc Spelmann. It's a really neat deck that's not just a deck of cards. You can actually do tricks that you could do with the deck of cards, but now you're doing them with pictures, which I really like. I think it's a neat idea. Hey, and I'm glad you're here. Thanks for spending some of your time with me today. And without further ado, let's get into the video right now. One more thing before this video does get started. If you want to check out Mystique Factory's daily deals, the links will be down below in the description, but I'm going to give you a quick little teaser of the daily deals they have going down when this video goes live. Now they have CTC Project by Peter Egging, which is a coin-to-can routine that uses electronics. It's normally $135, but they have it on sale for $97. So the link will be in the description for that. Another deal that's going down is the deal on Martin Lewis and Bon Lee's cardiographic recall that they put out. It's $295 normally, but it's on sale at Mystique Factory's website for $195, which is $100 that you're saving on that. It's a neat idea where you have the cardiographic, well, you have the original signature sketch pad that Martin Lewis put out in the past, which I do own and I love a lot, but this is just a new mechanism to make the card rise out of the notepad. So if you want to check that out, you can save $100, and you can even save more money if you use code Tyler10 at checkout on your first order from Mystique Factory. So definitely use that code. I'm not making any money off that code. I don't want you to think that I'm just taking the 10% and giving it to myself. No, this is me trying to help you guys put out more reviews and help you save some money. But yeah, let's get into the review right now. Let's begin by talking about what actually is The Gallery. Well, this is a deck of cards from Marc Spelmann, and I don't even want to call it a deck of cards because it's a deck of picture cards. Now, what you're going to be doing here is using this utility deck to do many different possibilities. Now, what I mean by that is you can perform pretty much everything you can already perform with a deck of cards, but now you can perform it with picture cards instead of having someone memorize let's say they choose the 9 of spades. Well, you try to guess the 9 of spades or predict it or read their mind and say, hey, you have the 9 of spades. But this time you get to say, okay, think of a sound that you associate with this photo, and maybe it's a birthday cake, and they start singing happy birthday. And it's just a picture that invokes emotion instead of a playing card that they just have to memorize. There are so many things you can do with this deck of picture cards, and I'll go into some of the things you can do in this review, but there's also some hidden features that I really liked, and I'll touch on a couple of them in this review as well. Now let's talk about what you're going to be receiving if you decide to purchase The Gallery. You're going to be getting this deck right here, and inside of this is all the picture cards that you're going to be receiving that you can do so many different routines with. You're also going to be getting a tutorial video that's online that you can stream or download. It's up to you, but you're going to be getting over 6 hours worth of tutorial footage. That includes performances, tutorials, and some tips and tricks on how to actually use this deck. Now, as far as tutorial videos goes, this is probably one of the best tutorials I've seen in recent memory, just because of how much how much material there actually is and how many different routines you're going to be taught. You're going to learn how to do almost 20 different effects with this deck of cards, which I just think is absurd. There's so many different things you can do with this, and I'm glad they started teaching you all these ideas to get you started. Is this examinable? Yes, for the most part, this entire deck is examinable except for a few cards, but you usually leave those out and you wouldn't let your spectators hold those anyways. But for most of the time, yes, they can handle this entire deck. They can shuffle it, they can examine it. As long as you don't have any of the gaff cards that they include in there, the rest of the deck is completely normal. How are the angles when it comes to performing The Gallery? They are great. For the most part, all of these are angle proof, and when you think of something that you're doing with a deck of cards, if that trick that you do with your deck of cards is angle proof, then it's going to be angle proof with The Gallery, because you're basically going to be doing the same sleights, but people aren't going to associate sleight of hand with a deck of memory cards, which I think is a really nice subtlety and just something that really people aren't going to think about, and I really just like that touch. How difficult are the gallery routines to perform? For the most part, they are all going to just use basic sleight of hand moves, so I would say that most of these effects you're going to be learning are pretty easy to do, and you're going to be learning them after you watch the whole tutorial video and you learn all these different ideas to do with it. You can go out and perform them almost right away. It's not going to take too much practice. How much setup is there when performing the gallery? There's not that many setup issues that you have to worry about when going into this, because for some of the routines your audience can actually shuffle the cards, so then obviously you wouldn't have a setup. But yeah, for most of the time you don't really have that much of a setup, and even if you do, it's easy to set up because you just got to put a couple cards in certain spots in the deck. Are there any negatives when performing the gallery? Honestly, not really, but I will mention one thing that might be a negative for you. Some of the images on the cards are kind of serious, so if you're going to be performing this for like kids or something, you might want to take out like the picture of the noose, or like the picture of the handcuffs, or the gun, or the bullets. So just be careful for the audience that you're performing for, and take out certain cards that you think might offend them or might not be appropriate for the situation that you're performing in. So just be aware of that. Are there any positives to performing the gallery? Yes, I love how that you can do so many tricks with this that you can do with a normal deck of cards, but people aren't going to be like, oh, he's just a card trick magician, because they're not going to think of this as a deck of cards, and they're not even going to associate sleight of hand with most of these tricks. So I think that this is a really cool tool to have because there's so many possibilities with it, and just unleash your brain on this and have so many opportunities with just being creative with this. Another positive is the box. I love how this is the memory game. It's not the gallery by Marc Spelmann. It's the memory game. So you can pull this out in front of an audience and say, hey, I have this deck of memory cards, and they're going to think, oh, that's something a magician would use. No, it says the memory game on it, which I really did appreciate. I think that's a nice touch they add. Another positive is that you actually get a day of loosely handling on how to use the gallery, and I really like that version. I think that's going to be the version that I use most when performing the gallery until I come up with one of my own routines. I was also impressed with the quality of the cards, and I know that these are going to hold up for a long time. My final positive for this is that the hidden features in this deck are actually pretty cool. I will mention one: the mixed up Rubik's Cube is actually in the Takami's mix. So if you know what that is, if you're into Rubik's Cube magic, then the picture that they have of the mixed up Rubik's Cube you can actually use, and you could have the Takami mix on your Rubik's Cube and have it like match up to the card, and then maybe you solve the Rubik's Cube and then it changes into the solved Rubik's Cube card that comes with the deck, which I think will be a really neat routine to do. So there are just many possibilities with this. What should this retail as? Well, this currently retails as $36.25, and honestly that's not a bad price, but I would have liked to seen this at just a solid $35. I don't think the $1.25 is necessary extra. I just think that this would have been fine as $35. I mean, you can do a lot with it, so I'm not trying to discount the deck, but $35 is what I think it should retail as. What would I give this out of 10? I would give this a solid 9.5 out of 10. The reason I docked to half a point is just because of the price. It's not like it's a bad price. I just think it could have been a little cheaper. But you're going to get so many routines with this, and you can just do so much with this, that I wanted to give it a solid grade, and I'd give it a 9.5. Should you pick this up? Yes, you should pick this up. If you are a mentalist, then you are going to love this because you can invoke emotion with these cards. And also, if you're a magician and you want to do something besides card tricks, but you still want to do some sleight of hand with cards, then definitely pick this deck up so you can use things besides playing cards, and you can now move to picture cards, which I think will be cool. That about does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to help you make a more informed decision about whether or not you want to purchase the gallery. If you would like to, link will be down below in the description, and also in the description is a link to my Instagram page. There you can follow me on Instagram at TylerAnsweredMagic. I post like some performances of effects I've reviewed. I also give you the opportunity to ask questions about tricks that I'm reviewing as well. So definitely go check that out, and I think you will like it. But I would like to thank Mystique Factory for sending me this product so I can do the review for you beautiful people. Remember to use code Tyler10 at checkout so you save 10% off your first order with Mystique Factory, and check out their daily deals going down. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. See ya.